She can handle this one.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us for the East Aurora Village Board meeting for Monday, November 4th, 2024. If you could please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a roll call attendance, please.
Trustee Lizingas?
Here.
Trustee Cameron?
Here.
Trustee Vijay?
Here.
Trustee Flynn?
Here.
Trustee Raby?
Here.
Trustee Shear?
Here.
Mayor Mercurio?
Present.
7 present, 0 absent.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the Village Board meeting for October 21, 2024?
So moved.
Moved by Kristen, second.
Second.
Second by Molly. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approved. Can I get a motion for the approval of the payment of abstract 2024-2025 fiscal year for voucher numbers 65364 to 65420 for a total of $222,134.54?
Motion.
Moved by Jeff, second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Before we start our first speakers in communications, our clerk treasurer just has a few rules to read out, if you would, please.
Just a reminder, you have 2 minutes to speak during our open communications. You need to face forward and direct all of your comments to the board. This is for public comment. The board is not required to respond to questions, nor should you be asking people in the audience questions. And when your time is up, you should take your seat unless the board addresses you, and then you can respond.
Thank you. All right, this is our first speakers in communications. We will have another one at the end of the meeting. This really isn't the time to speak on something we're having a public hearing on. You get that opportunity in a little bit. If you have something you'd like to talk about that's not one of the public hearings today, raise your hand, and when acknowledged, please come up and speak into the mic. Introduce yourself and tell us what your issue is. Anyone at this point? Sir.
Good evening. My name is Joseph White. I'm a local resident and business owner. I'm just asking if there's been any more open discussion about fiber optics coming to town. It seems like there's lack of communication between NYSEG, the fiber optics, the village, and a few state officials. Just wondering if you have any more open statements or if there's been, any more collaboration between all of these entities about the issue.
Thank you, Joseph. Shane? you wanna-
Yeah, we are continuing to talk with them. We have a meeting scheduled tomorrow.
Okay.
So we're just trying to wade through all the issues.
Yeah.
So-
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Anyone else? Jen?
Hello. I was trying to get my notes down, but I just wanted to follow up as well about the fiber optics and the trees. I know that I was here.
We need your address.
Oh, 115 Blake Hill Road, East Aurora, village resident of East Aurora.
Thank you.
So since the last meeting 2 weeks ago, we were able to do some emailing back and forth with Senator Gallivan's office, who then went and contacted NYSEG themselves about this process. And NYSEG specifically said, and this is a quote that I have from an email from Senator Gallivan's office, it said, although they approved the fiber optics project, they never approved nor asked GoNet to replace poles or cut trees or do anything to that extent. So although this is approved through the NYSEG process, they never said anything about the pole replacement. And the pole replacement is what's causing the trimming of the trees. So I just would love, I understand I'm not going to get answers right now, but I'd like that to be addressed. Also, I did have a chance, by no means am I a lawyer by any extent, but I did just Google some stuff online, so I would love to gather more information on the easements. I know that fiber optics don't have the same easement rights as power and electric companies, so at some point I would just love to get more information about that as to what property rights homeowners have based on easements. I also spoke with another utility company that works in the village that said he would come on record and talk to anybody, but there's at least 4 to 5 utility companies that work in the village at any given time without any communication, no regulation. They're all cutting different things, replacing different poles. Nobody ever knows what's going on. So I would love just more transparency around that at some point, and also when village residents can expect the second poles to be removed. Who's going to be accountable for that? What's the timeline for that? And anything else that village residents need to know about people coming onto their property, cutting down their own trees. So thank you for listening. I hope to get all these answers at some point in the near future.
Thank you, Jen. Lynn?
Lynn Kinsella, 433 Linden Avenue. I'm also here because of the trees and also what's being proposed. I would just like to request, as a resident of Linden Avenue, that there would be at least communication with a good time frame with regards to where the work will be done, what trees might be affected, whether people will be coming on our private property. A couple years ago, a utility company came on Linden Avenue and trimmed the trees on the island, which has severely damaged them. If you go down Linden Avenue, you'll see they look horrible. They're not healthy as a result of what was done. And I think as a resident of East Aurora, we need to be getting as much information as we can. I mean, in the paper, it said that literally that this work will start in 3 weeks. That's not sufficient time. It's not fair to allow any company to come onto people's property without a discussion. We actually have on our property, there's the pole on Linden, but the electrical pole electricity goes across our property to a backyard on South Street. So they would have to then come onto our property, right in the middle of our driveway. And we're really concerned about this, and I know the residents of Linden Avenue, after seeing what was done in the past, are also very concerned. So I appreciate all this information being shared. Thank you.
Excellent. Do you want to talk about the legality a little bit and the way what our options are?
Yeah, it's in the right of way. My understanding is, and Chris can correct me if I'm wrong, is the utilities and have the right to maintain the utility poles and lines. Lynn, for the line that goes behind your house through your property, unless there's an easement there, they can't enter there. So if you're aware of a power authority easement through your property, I don't believe they can go and do anything on that line.
They can't, but there will probably be, if you look at your survey for your property, it should be, the easement should be listed on there, and it'll have, if you don't happen to have the actual easement papers, it'll have what they call a library and a page number, and that will give you the information of getting the actual easement from the Erie County Clerk's office.
And the state, from what I understand, the state allows utilities to basically carte blanche. I mean, is
Public
that
ser-
something we can challenge?
Public Service Commission controls how utilities handle it and how they handle their lines. There was a question that was raised with regard to seeker and the provisions. It's one thing if you're doing trench work. It's another thing if you're just working off the poles or replacing the poles. There's specific references that it becomes a type 2 action if they are simply doing repairs and maintenance, and thus they don't have to go through the whole seeker process because they already, their poles and lines already exist. And co-location, it may be a fiber optic company, just like your cable television wires are hooked on the same poles. It is, co-location is a normal practice. If they're putting in new poles, the fiber optics are putting in new poles or trenching, it's a different discussion.
And just to add to Jen's questions, it's our understanding that Verizon will be the last utility removed from the old poles when they're replaced, and they're responsible, and I believe it's 6 weeks.
It was either 60 or 90 days.
They said
I can
90
look it up in
days.
my
Yeah.
notes.
To replace the old poles. I'm not aware of one, but
I asked for documentation on that.
Yeah.
I haven't received it yet, but we have a meeting tomorrow.
And that's where the Public Service Commission gets involved, in terms of people notifying them that the work has not been completed. You know, obviously, unfortunately, we're in Western New York. You know, if we have another December blizzard, all bets are off. But other than that, they can be contacted because they're the people with the control.
All right. Speakers and communications, anyone else? All right, there'll be another opportunity at the end of the meeting if you think of something that you want to speak on. That closes first speakers and communications. Moving on to our first public hearing. Can I get a motion to open a public hearing to consider the site plan application for Samuel Cosmano of Sammy's Car Wash of 170 Gray Street to remove the awning, construct a post and beam style carport and roof under the man door and replace the door and windows at 7:11 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Molly, second by Steve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. The public hearing is open. Is the applicant here to speak? Want to let us know what you got planned, Sam? Please?
Sam Cosmano, 1419 Boys Road. We're just going to enhance the exit of the car wash, make it look a little Roycrofty, and it's well overdue. So I thank you, and I was approved by the Storefront Grant, which was great, and that this is part of their program.
Great. Thank you, Sam.
Okay, thanks, Sam.
Anyone from the public want to speak on this topic? All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing at 7:12 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Kristen. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. 3A is closed. Can I get a motion to open up a public hearing to consider the site plan application for James A. Boglioli of Benderson Development of 123 Gray Street to update the front exterior facade, modify the sidewalk and front entrance, and to construct a one-story addition of approximately 680 square feet on the rear of the building for loading and trash compactor at 7:12 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Ernie. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. The public hearing is now open.
Good evening. James Boglioli, I'm attorney for Benderson Development, 570 Delaware Avenue, Buffalo, New York. We are here today for facade changes and the addition of a small bump out, about 680 square feet, to accommodate home goods, which we're having for the shopping center. About a year ago, I started coming to the board saying we'd fill this entire shopping center, and we are one tenancy away from having the entire shopping center filled. So it is a minor site plan addition in the back. We have gone through the plan commission. They did recommend approval. As far as the facade change, if you're familiar with the site, as I know most of you are, this is an existing bump out. TJ Maxx is over here. What we're looking to do is to make Home Goods consistent with the TJ Maxx bump out. So there you see TJ Maxx, there's the Home Goods bump out. Same materials as the facade. They're just a very large tenant, and we're trying to accommodate their size in that building. With that, the only vacancy left in this shopping center is in front of the Mayataco, and I should be back with a tenant for that, and then we'll be all wrapped up with that site. So if you have any questions, it's really quite simple. I'm happy to answer them.
Anybody, any questions for the applicant while he's here? We're good? Thank you, James.
You're welcome.
Anyone from the public want to speak on this topic? All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing at 7:14 PM?
Motion.
Moved by
Second.
Jeff, second by Kristen. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Can I get a motion to open a public hearing to consider the special use permit for James Boglioli of Benderson Development of 160 to 190 Main Street for Chipotle in a vacant tenant space in the plaza?
So moved.
7:14 PM. Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Public hearing is now open. James?
Thank you. Thank you again. This is our other location. I know the board's familiar with it. Main Street's up top. We have the Rite Aid, the restaurant up front, and we have a mixed-use strip building in the back. Between Sherwin-Williams and the Formula 3 Fitness Center, we have 3,100 square feet plus or minus that's vacant. And Chipotle Mexican Grill is looking to take that. I don't know if you're familiar with Chipotle Mexican Grill. It's a lot of fresh food. You line up, they make it while you walk through the line, and then you can eat there or take it away. There's no outdoor dining right now, it's all confined within the space. Chipotle is having 46 seats inside. We operate 10:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. There'll be no outside noise, or this won't impact anyone outside this building. So we have plenty of parking, and it has gone to the Planning Commission, and they have recommended in favor of it.
All right. Any questions for James on Chipotle?
We did get an email from somebody about this. I don't know if that person is in the audience to speak on it.
I'll have his,
Okay.
Shane, did we get any correspondence? Maureen?
Yep.
Liz? Did we get one?
Yep.
Okay, thank you, James. Anyone from the public want to come up and speak on this?
Hi there, Board. I'm Mary Ann King, and I live at 35 Hamlin, so I'm the closest property to what will be Chipotle. And we don't have any problem with restaurants going in there. However, we have continuing code issues with the plaza. The dumpsters that are back there that are shown being put into cement where they're supposed to be by code, they need to be relocated and gated. So right now, they are outside of their areas. They're hanging open. We have raccoons. We have, up on our porches there, we have skunks that are trying to get in, and that's probably largely due to garbage. So when you consider the fact that now you're going to have a lot of food garbage, this could get even worse. So we need them to comply with the code of the village in regards to the dumpsters. The rear doors to the plaza are very often propped open, and particularly by the gym. And the gym has a amplified sound system. So on Sunday mornings when I get up to read the Buffalo News, I have a person who is amplifying commands to get down, stand up, do this, and it goes throughout our condos there. And we've had more than one person from the condos ask them to stop, and we've had the police come and ask them to stop, and they refuse. So we are being disturbed in the back. The cars are starting to park illegally in the rear area. That area is a rear delivery fire access area. Today, we have construction equipment that are in the fire access area, blocking people coming in and out of it. The privacy fence that was put in there to screen our properties from Benderson was put in 2003. It was sunk with poles that were not put in concrete. It was also faced the good side toward Benderson and the poles toward us. So the poles now are 60 to 70% have been replaced. We lost 30 feet of fence last winter when their snowplows ran their fence over. And we would really like them to be a good neighbor and really do what they were expecting to do when they applied with you for permits to establish the plaza. So provided what I sent in the email, which is what we would like them to do, and be good neighbors to us, we're fine with the restaurants, but please, please comply. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Do you
Mary.
have any questions?
I think it's something that we can follow up on.
Okay.
Just to make sure. You have it all all the stuff you just talked about, you had all documented in the email that you sent
Right
to-
here.
So
It's
we have-
also on and off documented with law establishment as well as our code committee, too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So the gym amplification, is that something code-wise that the police should be able to
Yeah, police
keep them from doing?
could tell them, police could have them shut the door. We've notified, I've spoken with the property manager for the plazas in the village. and given him the list of concerns, including the doors being open, the dumpsters not being in the proper location, the lids being open, all of that, the fence being in disrepair. I've not unfortunately witnessed any parking in the fire lane, but that also is a police enforceable issue. So Benderson is aware of the concerns, and I was told that they were going to address it. I did send a letter directly to Formula 3 Fitness, telling them they can't have their door open, so that the amplified sound comes out towards anybody, either the front or the back. They
Yeah,
can't
that
prop
would
the
be
door
a
open.
Violation of the noise ordinance.
And they haven't responded yet?
Not yet, no.
Pat, if you get a call from a resident that there's a car parked in a fire lane, what's standard procedure for your department?
Usually a patrol responds. They identify if it's an infraction or not. Most of the time, they try to work with the folks to get the car moved. If the car is not moved, they'll cite it. If it's something that they find, immediate, they'll have it towed. It's a case-by-case basis. We try to work with the people. A lot of people are just in a hurry and not paying much attention, and we try not to inflict any financial pain if we don't have to, but, when it comes to that, we do.
Right? And if they know they're not allowed to do it and they're
Well,
serial offenders, right?
sure,
You've talked a few times, then you can lean on them a
yeah.
little more.
Like I said, it's just a case-by-case thing, and, how often is it, being brought up? Is it the first time we've been there, or are we there, every day? And then address it differently.
So in that particular instance, you recommend the resident just call
Sure,
the
yeah.
APD and,
If she's noticing any kind of a violation that we can enforce, we'd be happy to go down there and enforce it to the village code.
all right, we'll follow up on this. Mary Ann. Thank you. All right, anyone else want to speak publicly on the Chipotle? All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing at 7:22 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Molly. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Public hearing is closed. Can I get a motion to open a public hearing to consider rescinding the special use permit contingent approval for Eric Kennedy of Highwire at 658 Main Street to operate a legal state licensed dispensary, 7:23 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved? Maureen, you want to?
Is the
us about
applicant
this.
here and want to give information on the status of their license, which is for their permit?
Good evening, Elizabeth Kringle, Counsel for Highwire Farms. I'm from Duke Holzman.
Eric Kennedy with Highwire Farms.
My office did send a letter this morning, I believe. I do have a couple copies with me as well in case it didn't quite reach you. And this is with respect to the status of this situation concerning the lease and the second lease.
Yeah, I'd like one, please. Thank you.
So in connection with opposing the rescission of the special use permit, we wanted to bring to the board's attention the circumstances that have transpired since the special use permit was issued on April 15th of this year. The landlord, EA Management, entered into a second lease for a nearby property, which I understand is on the agenda tonight after this matter. We ended up commencing litigation in New York State Supreme Court, Erie County, before Judge Kolyakovo, wherein we alleged breach of the lease, and we sought a preliminary injunction to enjoin the landlord from interfering with Highwire Farms' rights under the lease. by entering into a second lease with a competitor in such close proximity, it would undermine Highwire's ability to obtain the OCM approval and also just completely frustrate the purpose of Highwire's lease to operate a cannabis dispensary in that space. So we did obtain a preliminary injunction from Justice Kolyakovo. That's attached to the letter that was sent this morning, and that does enjoin the landlord from entering into a lease to lease space for a competing cannabis dispensary in such close proximity, and that would be, excuse me, at the 640, 650 Main Street location where Buffalo Kind had entered into a lease with EA Management in around August of this year. So we are in opposition to the rescission of the special use permit for Highwire. The application for the license through OCM is still pending. Highwire has done everything within its power to try to move that forward, but it's really in OCM's hands right now. But we've done everything we can, including enjoining the landlord from frustrating the purpose of the lease and from their being able to pursue a second lease for a cannabis dispensary in close proximity. Anything you want to add?
I don't believe so.
Happy to answer any questions.
May. I was familiar with the litigation aspect, but the lease has nothing whatsoever to do with, I mean, the village isn't involved in that litigation, and I understand the other entity with the other lease isn't a defendant either. But the fact that you had that litigation ongoing over the terms of your lease, the issue here, and something that this board wants to consider, which is, quite frankly, no decision was going to be made without giving everybody an opportunity to be heard. But on the issue of where you stand with OCM, because looking at the numbers, you're nowhere close to getting a permit unless there's something else going on there. Again, and I'm just looking at the numbers. I have not talked to anyone with OCM, but one of the conditions was that your client would obtain a New York license, and that does not go on forever. So where do you stand?
So, do you want to speak to that?
Absolutely. First and foremost, the landlord not helping with the cause and not giving the proper documentation in the time frame that was the deadline has put a issue in whether we are on the November list or December list. We did not find this out until April 16th of this year when we provided them with a special use permit. So we have been fighting with them the entire time and showing them documentation that we were on time and everything. And if you look at all the documentation with EA Management, we have a lease prior to the deadline, and we should be on the November list.
Yeah, I remember when you came in, because you were seated over that side that night, you had indicated to the village board that, you needed to get, the way the rules were working, you needed to get the special use permit before you could get your license, and you had indicated that it would be a short time after that when you would get your license, and it's now more than 6 months.
And I completely understand.
And I appreciate your frustration.
And I'm very frustrated. This is again, previous experience, this should be a done deal within 30 days.
I remember those discussions from you the last time.
You're ready to go, everything is in line, and unfortunately, the OCM is the OCM.
I won't hold you to anything you say about OCM.
I will bite my tongue.
Fair enough.
So, we would love to be open. We want to be here, and we're considering further action against the OCM to expedite this, because it's not just us.
Oh, no, there are lots.
There's multiple applicants that are suffering financially as a result of the OCM dragging their feet.
You mentioned on the December list, are you saying you will get a license in December, or they will just look at it perhaps again, and then it will be whenever down the road. I know you don't have a
For me to
crystal ball,
predict what
but
the-
you're,
What the state government does is impossible. I will tell you this, the general rule of thumb is, what we feel that we have is an application submitted before November 17th at 5 PM according to OCM rules, including a lease from EA Management.
yeah, that would have been November of 2023.
Correct.
Right.
And so I am the first person not to be happy to pay in that rent every month not being open. However, I will say that in the next few months, you will see a accelerated approach against the OCM. And so our ask, yes,
No, I get what
you can
accelerated
read between the
approach
lines.
means. Trust
Yeah,
me,
you can
I
read
get
between the
that.
lines. So our ask is for you to give us the 1-year anniversary to let this play out and let us do our due diligence with OCM and the landlord to try to get this all resolved.
Yeah, knowing Judge Koliakovo, he usually is fairly prompt with moving things along. So full disclosure, he used to be my partner, so I know him.
No worries.
Yes, and he's a good judge. I suspect that your litigation with the landlord will be done before anything with OCM will be done. Unless
I
you
hope
get
not.
something, well, yeah, I know, you got to go back. He gave you a time frame, and I don't remember if it was January or February, but I know it was coming in that time frame.
February for the preliminary, excuse me.
Preliminary hearing?
Duration.
Okay.
We will have a report back court conference at the end of January.
Yeah, I remember those dates in there when I looked through the papers.
So the reason us asking until April 15th is, again, if the injunction is till February 17th-ish, that's fine, and I assume there's going to be discussion after the fact that would give us a 60-day window to try to solve this issue.
Okay. Okay, obviously, I'll be talking to the board and giving them my ideas and thoughts and recommendations. Unfortunately, I apologize, I didn't, although I saw the litigation papers, I didn't see your letter until you just handed it to me, so I will look at it. Obviously, I'm familiar with your firm, because I've been around a long time. And we'll let that go. And I appreciate the issue you have with OCM, and I have heard this discussion elsewhere. But at this point, there has been nothing I've seen coming through the pipeline that has changed their way of proceeding. So if you guys are going to do something, probably want to do it sooner rather than later.
We're very well aware.
Just
Thank
a
you.
thought. I don't know if anyone has questions.
What other sites are available in the village?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
I mean, it's got to be 200 feet from a,
We've got churches and schools
200
that
feet
go
from a church,
into.
500 feet from a school, or the other way around? So, at one point, we took a protractor to the village and just kind of
Yep.
figured out what areas.
There are limited locations within the walking distance in the village.
But there's other locations that.
There are other locations within the village, but obviously, you're not talking on Main Street or by the
By
plaza.
Bill, it was like by
Is it across from
Bella Wines,
Meister's?
and then like one in the middle area. And
Yeah.
that was like it.
The new retail space for rent, being advertised for rent next to 189. That's in it.
I believe so. I think it was. I mean, Liz would have to measure.
That's a
it out.
Liz
Wouldn't
question,
anywhere around
sorry.
the plaza, too.
Yeah, I think so.
In the plazas?
Anywhere around there.
Yeah.
General information.
We don't, yeah, we
Plazas
don't.
too?
Well, close. I mean, the one plaza's, the Montessori's across the street from Tops.
Oh, no.
I guess I'm just
Yeah.
So
thinking
there's
out loud that
areas-
they're.
Yeah,
Right,
there are
that's
schools
where-
that sneak up on you.
Yeah, you're right. But my point is there are.
Yeah,
number
there's
of
more
other
than one
places.
area, yes.
On Main Street, even in the
Forgot
village.
that was in there.
My niece is there.
Gotcha. Is that
Just an
school
observation.
or-
Yeah,
or-
it's a school.
All right, anything else for them? All right, thank you.
I may reach out to you after I have a chance to read this.
Please
I-
feel free.
I know where your office is.
Thank you.
I get a motion to close the public hearing at 7:35 PM.
Is there anyone else who wants to speak?
So move.
Oh, sorry, you're right, good point. Anybody else from the public want to speak on this? Yep, come on up.
Hi, my name's Rachel, and I'm the owner of Head Over Heels at 662 Main Street. I also own, my storefronts go from 658 all the way to 668 Main Street, and we would be above the shop that would be opening that we just were talking to, the gentleman that we were just talking to. So back a few months ago, we had squatters in the basement of that location, and they were smoking and doing God knows what, but the owner was notified, and all during the Christmas season, we kept being told, like, why does your shop smell like this? The shop smells like weed constantly, and we couldn't figure it out, but then in time, we found out that there were squatters inside of our basement. My concern is the home store smelling constantly.
Just so you're aware, the retail sales does not permit consumption on the property.
What do you mean?
You can buy it, you can't
Nobody's
smoke
gonna be
it.
smoking there.
Okay, but it's not going to have a scent or anything in there?
Well, I don't know about that.
Because, like, I mean, we have people that come into the store, and, like, we have people in their 70s all the way to 17 years old. Like, I mean, we have a big demographic of people that come into the store. So I just think that some people don't like smelling that. I mean, we can only do so many things to block it off. There's holes in the floor of our store, so, like, they would have to, like, someone would have to make sure that maybe the floors were covered, or, I don't know, I just wouldn't want to smell that inside of my retail store.
Understandable. One, you've raised a lot of issues that you may want to deal with your landlord and the lease. If you have
Sure.
holes in the floor.
Well, they're like little ones for like cables that might have run down there at a certain time.
Oh, okay.
But we're not using
But-
them at that time. They're just like little like holes, like 1.5 inch floor, holes in the floor.
Liz, you didn't hear any of this.
No, it's not. It's like where maybe cables or something ran down it. It's like just a couple of them inside of the floor. But I mean, I don't know. We have like a busy store, and I just don't want to deter people off of the store smelling like that all the time.
We unfortunately can't designate where stuff goes, and
Sure.
like Mr. Trapp said, that
Yeah, they have to, there are certain security issues that they have to take in place in terms of having the material, the product protected. I suspect there will be, I don't recall the actual setup of the store at this point, but there would only be a certain amount in display cases. Again, huge difference between, smoking it or otherwise using it and just having it present. I can't tell you what a large amount would, if there would be an odor to it. Small amounts is the general rule. No, not really.
Yeah, I don't know.
Without,
yeah, pretty much.
I don't
without getting too far into that.
Sure.
Based on my age, but okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak on this? Sir?
Summer Dad, and when you open that stuff.
Your name and address.
Guarantee you, I know it for a fact.
Your name
so-
and address.
What's that?
Name and address.
Oh, Bob Pfister, Olean Street, East Aurora.
Thank you.
So she doesn't have a problem with the business, but it will smell. If they can do something to eliminate that, they've got things like in bars in the old days that eliminate smoke. But they had people living, the guy living down there, and he was smoking all the time, and it was coming through the place. You say smoke, I'm
yeah.
telling you, when you crack open a jar, it smells. Just telling you from experience. Stuff smells. No matter what.
I'm
smoke
not
it or
going there.
It reeks. It smells like a skunk. So I'm just saying it will smell. If they can assure that they'll get rid of all that, that would be great. There will be no smell. And if we do have a smell, I mean, it is horrible if you don't like it.
No, I get it. But that will be something that whoever is running the facility you'll have to address with them
Again-
and with the landlord. Yeah, I know the air
but so it's gonna
filtration
be-
systems you're talking about at taverns and that.
Right.
Ozone machines.
Yeah.
There's nothing in our code specifically that would prohibit whether their business smells inside the store.
She would have to move out, and then good luck finding people too. It's offensive odor to a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people, it's not.
Yeah.
So it will smell. If you can guarantee it's not and make sure it doesn't, nothing against his business.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. It will smell because you guys are talking like you don't know. I'm just telling you, it smells.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Bob. Anyone else want to speak on this? Come on up, Eric.
Hello again, Eric Kennedy, 840 South Main Street, Adrian, Michigan. I spoke with Rachel, I don't know, I feel like a year ago. Stopped in her shop, beautiful shop, love it. This is the epitome of East Aurora. And offered my business card, and you're welcome to contact me if you have any issue whatsoever. The squatters in there is a result of the landlord who left the door unlocked. So it's not up to us. We do not smoke in there. And I will assure you, especially for your business, because I love it so much, I will make sure that everything is carbon scrubbed so there's no smell going into your facility.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak on this public hearing?
Evening, everybody. Joe Schaefer, counsel for Hop and MT, DBA Buffalo Kind, out of Lippus, Matthias, downtown, 50 Fountain Plaza Suite, 1700, grew up in Orchard Park. Just wanted to address one thing as it related to the timing issue that, Chris, with respect to your line of questioning. I think that we respect the application process and everything, but I'm not sure we ever really got an answer as to the timing as to when that license will, if ever, be issued to Highwire. And that's really, I think, ultimately, I know we're next on the agenda, so I want to save our comments for that. But I think it's from our perspective, Buffalo Kind's perspective, that's probably the most important thing, because in the end, we have a license, we have proximity protection. We've done everything we've been asked to do, and while we respect the litigation that's ongoing, we're not a party to that lawsuit. We don't intend to get involved. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
I didn't suggest that.
I understand. The publicly available timelines, and again, not to get into a hypothetical and turn this into a law school exercise, but should Highwire be successful in getting moved from from the December queue, of which they're 3418, that's a publicly available document. I don't even believe the November queue is going to be done being reviewed based on publicly available comments from the OCM until mid to late 2025. I can be fact checked on that. We do as much research as we can. I just think that regardless of how much time is asked for, it just seems like it's going to be a lot longer. And here we are with a license and proximity protection. It just seems like a long time from now to hold things up.
Those are some of the things I will be checking, which is why.
Sure. Yeah, respect your diligence, Chris.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak on this?
Nope. Looks like the other lawyer's coming back.
Hi.
Just one last point, since proximity, excuse me, since proximity protection was mentioned with respect to Buffalo Kind, and I'm happy to provide additional filings from the litigation. Buffalo Kind did submit a letter to Judge Kolyakovo in which they represented they had proximity protection. They're not on the map. They're not on the list. We did a search the board day of our appearance on the preliminary injunction motion, and it wasn't there. So I think that's something that will need to be looked at more closely.
Just for your information,
He's about to hand.
just for your information, OCM did tell me that they had it.
Okay.
So,
As we checked on last was October 17th, and it wasn't there, so.
Sure.
If you guys want to share and chat outside, Please feel free. Yeah.
Are you all done?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
We all love the OCM here. I think that's one common theme with the lawyers. Ms. Kringle, I'm not sure, I'm not allowed to look at you because I know the directions were to look at the board, but there are two maps out there. There's the local map, which if you're familiar with State Liquor Authority, they have the LAMP map, which shows like all the churches, all the liquor, it's crazy. So OCM has both a proximity protection map and a local map that they're rolling out. It's my understanding, so this is the proximity report showing that we do have proximity protection. We are at least, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, we are at least on the proximity protected map. I do not believe we're on the local map, but we do have proximity protection. We have evidence of that. So it's a very goofy scenario, but it is indeed publicly available to the extent that someone would be looking for that information. I think I did a good job looking forward during this.
Can I get that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak on this public hearing before we close it? All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing at 7:46 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Kristen, second by Steve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Public hearing is closed. Can I get a motion to open public hearing to consider the special use permit for Andrew Kraus of Hop and Hemp Tea at 640-650 Main Street to operate a legal state licensed dispensary, 7:46 PM?
Motion.
Moved by Jeff, second by Steve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Public hearing is now open. Who's speaking on this one?
Well, I guess would ask the applicant to talk
Yeah.
about their special use permit.
Going to come on up and tell us?
How
Hi.
you doing? I'm Andrew Kraus. This is my father, Andrew Kraus, and you've already heard from Joe. Dad is the president, I'm the CEO. We've been in this business with the OCM since 2019, when Dad first started the hemp business. He went through 3 different hemp licenses, from research to growing to processing. And then in 2022, he contacted me and said, I now have the ability to go after the cannabis license. At that point, asked me if I wanted to get involved. My brother Derek moved up from North Carolina, and my son Tyler, that's my mother there as well, we started on our mission to build Buffalo Kind. At that point, went for a DBA and continued to grow right here in Wales for 2 years. And since then, in this April, we got our micro business license, which allows us to process, grow, and become a dispensary on one. Our mission and why we picked East Aurora, farm to table, we've grown up around here, and we know this is the perfect fit for us. We have done everything right from day one. We never went out and we got leases we shouldn't. We followed the rules until we had our license. We went out and got the lease, and then we started to come to you guys for the process to get the special use permit.
I'd like to just add that we have a delivery service included in our license. We can do home delivery as well.
I have additional copies of our proximity protection from New York State. We also have local businesses that have signed a petition about locals being here, if you guys would like to see that as well.
You think anything you have?
Yep. Yes, they're just copies.
Just the bottom ones, I want to keep them. It's got some other stuff on it. Thanks.
Okay. I'll send it out.
Get them out to us. Thank you, Joe. Yep. You want to address this one?
Well, I don't.
You did
you
such
done?
a good job with the last one.
I don't want to interrupt if they're done, or you have anything else you want to present.
You know who we are.
Okay. And obviously, there are more materials here. One of the just initial concerns is obviously the village has zero interest in getting involved in litigation.
And nor do we, and that's why
And
we follow the rules.
we understand you're not involved in it, but obviously, we have 2 competing entities, which is one of the reasons why having it both here at the same time, everybody could hear what everybody else had to say. But for the village board, they'd have to consider a rescission of a permit, special use permit, which was already granted, and that's going to take a little bit more review, which is why we wanted to hear what everybody had to say, and obviously a little more research. I can tell you, I don't drag things out. It doesn't do the village board any good, it doesn't do any of the applicants any good. But I think there's additional review that needs to be done before I would certainly make a recommendation to this board one way or the other. And I don't have any skin in this game. Whichever one is whichever one is. That's ultimately, I don't vote. That's ultimately going to be the board's decision.
Sure.
And I appreciate you guys coming in and with all your materials, but my recommendation to the board, at least insofar as tonight, is going to be to table any review of the permits until we have an opportunity to look at exactly what's going on. I'm not going to recommend to the village board that they wait until Judge Koliakovo finishes that litigation. I've been around court long enough that I know how things, February becomes March, becomes April, becomes whatever, even with standards and goals that they have to follow. And that's not going to do anybody any good. But we do have to do a little more reviewing to see where everything stands based upon what was told to us tonight, to be fair to everybody.
And what was different tonight than we did know before?
I hadn't had an opportunity to hear anything about what the current status of the application was from the other high wire company. And we saw this, I've seen it for the first time tonight. Haven't even had a chance to review it. Is there something in here? I don't know. I haven't read it yet. Might
How
there-
quickly, I ask you, how quickly can we go through that and make a decision? Because we've done everything right.
Yeah, and I appreciate that,
Right?
but,
We're 4 years into this, and we've done it all right.
well, you're not 4 years in front of this village board. I appreciate the fact that you've done a lot of legwork, and I appreciate that it takes some time. But the village board to do it right and to be respectful to everyone's rights will take a little time. Again, I'm expecting within 30 days or less, I will be sitting with the village board and saying, this is what I found, this is where everything sits, this is my recommendation one way or the other, and then the board will decide. What we would do would be to invite people back.
So Chris, I ask you a question. If I had a different location and I didn't rent from EA Management, would we be standing here today?
How close are you to anyone else?
It doesn't matter, I have proximity. There is no fake proximity
Okay.
for somebody that doesn't have it, right?
You,
We have OCM proximity.
I understand
Nobody else
that. We
needs
have to, I get that. And what I'm telling you is we're going to review it before any of that happens. I appreciate if it's not acceptable to you, I get it. But that's going to be my recommendation. You can't come in here, first night you're making the presentation, I know you came once before, but the first night in terms of all of this going on is tonight. And I'm not going to recommend to this village board that they make a decision tonight simply because someone says, I've got proximity and I've done everything right. And I appreciate the fact you may, and I get it, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. The village board has no interest, and, from my perspective, I have no interest in dragging things out. But we have to also do our due diligence to be fair. Because in April, this village board gave a special use permit.
Yeah.
And before anything happens to that, we need to find out what's going on with everything. And the best I can tell you is, again, we will not drag this out, but we will do our due diligence.
Right. This is our family, this is our life.
I appreciate that.
So, may I ask a question?
Absolutely. Yes. I appreciate it.
When you say we have proximity, explain to me what that qualifies you for?
Yes.
And what it means, and then what it qualifies you for, and why you feel it trumps whatever we did.
Okay. You want to take this big guy?
If you guys are willing to listen to me, sure. Thanks for your question, Steve. So this is the The application process, to the extent you're familiar with liquor licensing, it's relative, similar enough if you're familiar, but it's its own beast as it relates to how it goes. So we have to submit an application, we have to submit our beneficial owners to even be able to sell cannabis products in the state of New York. These processing times are not 2 days. Oftentimes they're 30 days, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. I have some people who were reviewed in January of this year, 9 months later, we're still waiting on a license. That can happen because they have to look at your beneficial ownership. After you get through that process, Steve, hopefully you get a license. It's approved at a Cannabis Control Board meeting. At which point, depending on the type of applicant you are, some applicants had to apply with proof over a location, some did not. We were in there's 2 queues that have been discussed, the November queue of applicants and the December queue of applicants. The November queue, anybody who wanted to apply for a retail shop. So we're a micro-business license, we're not a dispensary. Drew pointed that out earlier. We don't just sell, we're not consumers, we're more like 42. Gotta get it right? We're not 43 in the city, 42, we're like the brewery, right?
You're vertical, not horizontal.
That's it, yeah, we're vertically integrated, right? And so in order to be able to operate and get up and running, we had to apply with a site. That site was blocked out in Orchard Park. We came to East Aurora. We submitted that site to the state. The state looked and said, hey, is this within 200 feet of a church, 500 feet of a school? Are there any applicants within the allotted? It's 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet. I know the village code says 500 feet. Okay, so there's certain proximity protection is, do you abide by all of these rules as being as far away as possible, or as far away as you need to be from the other locations? We submitted that to the state as well. So not only do we have our licensure from the state, but we have protection of a zone that doesn't allow anyone else within what I believe is a 2,000-foot radius of us, and that is a state level approval. Does that make sense?
It does.
And that proximity is granted if you have a license.
To you.
Correct.
You can only.
And you gave the address of your current lease.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You can only get that proximity protection if you have a license.
So, let's say someone else has, in this situation, so let's say the other guy gets his license, how do they get, so is it a conflict of the state then if they issue them proximity?
Without.
Because you already have proximity, so if they issue in the same address, who issued first, too?
That's correct.
So he came before,
I'm sorry.
the high wire came and
The
requested.
distinction deals with the licensing. They have a license, Highwire doesn't have the license.
Correct.
But Highwire had the special use permit first, and
No, I understand.
apparently the lease first, and that's how we got where we got today.
Correct.
State versus municipal, right? So the village board is entitled to do what the village board is going to do, the state is entitled to do, but in the end, we have.
So would it be a conflict for the state to issue 2 licenses with the
The
same
state
proximity?
won't.
They
The state
can't.
won't. It's written into the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act, our state's legalization, it's, you know, those proximity, that distance requirement. Now granted, there are abilities to waive that, but really, my understanding of the policy behind it is you can put 4 dispensaries on a corner in Manhattan, it's not gonna affect anybody else's business. In the village of East Aurora, that's gonna be given very, very minimally. It's a different, while there are opportunities, we don't see that happening in Western New York anytime soon, at least with the initial rollout of retail.
And I just one more thing to add. Part of the reason that we obtained a micro-business license is that we were a conditional cultivator for 2 years here in Wales. And that's why the OCM came to us and asked us, what license do you want? Do you want to continue to grow? Do you want to just become a dispensary? No, we decided as a family we want to be a micro-business because we want to control it all. Our product is what is sold in East Aurora, what we grow, what we process. It's not other people's product. We control it, very similar to 42 North. This is a family business. That's why we're here.
It's a farm-to-table type of industry. We are narrowed down by the OCM, the amount that we can grow compared to being a cultivator. So it's specific to us producing a product that's only going to go in this community. We don't have enough to do anyplace else, really. And that's our choice. We're craftsmen. I'm a master potter. My brother-in-law is a Roy Crofter. We're very involved in the community. We always have been. And we feel like this is a chance for us to bring quality product that's New York State tested, New York State grown, and inspected. We have no idea what's going on in the rest of the country because we're not allowed to cross state lines. We're staying in the local area like we've been told to, and we feel this is the location that we think is the best. And we've gotten good response from the community. You'll see several signatures on there from local businesses. And people have given us our support. We were told before that it would take a 3-month process. They bumped us out last month, now we're into the 4th month. We've been patient, we're doing our due diligence, but we would respect an answer that's compatible to what we've been presented with. They have a conditional use license.
I'm familiar with what they have.
Okay?
Okay.
And I apologize, I only recall you being here once.
I remember you saying first come, first served. That
we-
stuck in my mind.
We came here for the first time to meet you. The second time we met with the planning board, and now we're here.
Okay,
So
the
this room
different,
is our
different
first time,
entities,
so
yes. Same room,
apologize. Yes.
different bodies.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, everybody goes through the planning board at some point in their lives.
All I can say is we are Western New York. We are Southtowners. My father started Boston Valley Terracotta in 1979. They've brought billions to the local community. I run ICE. We've done very well in this community, and we expect this to be the next venture for us. Okay? So we appreciate your time, and thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak on this public hearing topic?
Of course. Oh. No, you were already walking, hold that thought.
I'll be brief since the board's already heard the comments from the prior agenda item, but I would just like to renew and incorporate my letter from today on this agenda item as well, and just to point out that the copy of the order granting the preliminary injunction is included in that letter, and it specifically prevents the landlord, EA Management, which is the landlord both under Highwire's lease and Buffalo Kind's lease, prevents EA Management from interfering with Highwire's lease, including but not limited to leasing space or continuing to lease space at 640 Main Street for operation as a cannabis dispensary, including but not limited to operation of a cannabis dispensary by Buffalo Kind. And so with that being said, I think that in connection with the special use permit application on behalf of Buffalo Kind, that the preliminary injunction order speaks to that.
The potential problem with that, and I'm not going to, they can litigate that if they want, is you granting, there's an injunction against someone else operating without them being part of the litigation, and that's a tough one to deal with.
Well, I would say that the injunction is from the landlord leasing them the
Oh,
space.
no question, the landlord leasing,
Right.
but.
So that's
You know,
the
saying that they
text of the
can't
order.
operate, that's a problem, if they're not a party to the action.
Well, I'm just.
You already
I'm
know
just
that,
relaying the relief that was granted by. Judge
I know.
Bianco, So I just wanted to point that out to the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir.
My name is Jeff Burke. I live at 69 Hill here in East Aurora. I've known Drew Krause for 20 years in a business relationship. He and I go way back, in the integrity with which I've witnessed Drew conduct himself with the business that he runs day-to-day, ICE, Innovative Concepts and Entertainment in Clarence, is exceptional. So to know that Drew did everything by the book in order that things should have been done, if I'm going to patronize a dispensary, I'd like to patronize one that's owned by a Western New Yorker with products that's grown here in the community. Thank you.
Just so that there is no, thought process up here that anyone has anything other than the utmost in terms of integrity and everything else is boiling down to a matter of litigation and making sure that the board follows the correct rules in the process, as does everybody else. Trust me, I get it, and no one's saying anything bad about anybody.
I guess from my perspective, what's to stop someone from preemptively leasing a bunch of space that follows the protraction of proximity to prevent someone else from who's already licensed getting into that space? So I find it interesting that.
I think at the turn of the last century, that's probably what you had with all the railroad companies and everybody else. That's probably what they did.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Anyone else want to speak on this topic? All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing at 8:04 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Molly. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Public hearing E is closed. Moving on to official considerations. Can I get a motion to approve a determination of non-significance pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act in the matter of site plan application for Samuel Cosmano, Sammy's Car Wash of 170 Gray Street, to remove the awning, construct a post and beam style carport and roof over the man door and replace the doors and windows?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Ernie, second by Steve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Can I get a motion to approve a site plan for the same?
So moved.
Motion. Second.
Am I not allowed to do it that way?
No, you can. I've just never heard you actually do that.
Speed things up a lot.
It's okay.
See, now we've spent more time.
Oh, yeah.
No,
I should have just read it
Should've
all out.
just-
Good point, Kristen. All right, who made the motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, second.
Second.
Second by Kristen. All right. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Sam's not even here, is he?
No.
Oh, good for him.
No,
He wins.
Board.
Sam wins. Can I get a motion to approve a determination of non-significance pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act in the matter of a site plan application for James A. Boglioli of Benderson Development of 123 Gray Street to update the front exterior facade, modify the sidewalk and front entrance, and to construct a one-story addition of approximately 680 square feet on the rear of the building for loading and trash compactor?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved? And can I get a motion to approve a site plan application for James A. Boglioli of Benderson Development of 123 Gray Street to update the front exterior facade, modify the sidewalk and front entrance, and to construct a one-story addition of approximately 680 square feet on the rear of the building for loading and trash compactor?
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Grace, second. Steve?
Yep.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. And can I get a motion to approve a special use permit for James Boglioli of Benderson Development? Oh, they left off your initial, James. Right, was it Healy?
Yeah, he left too.
Left too?
No, he's over there.
Is up there? Oh, over
Oh.
there. You moved.
Approve a special use permit for James Boglioli of Benderson Development at 160 to 190 Main Street for Chipotle in a vacant tenant space in the plaza.
So moved.
Moved by Kristen, second.
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 Second by Steve. Further discussion?
Sorry, Molly.
Yeah, I just want to say, just to go back and see if you can hit those issues with, about that
The dumpsters and,
Great. Yep. Yep, just wanted to put that in there.
All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Congratulations, James. Let's see. Can I get a motion to approve the resolution for return of unpaid village taxes, including, let's see. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of East Aurora levied real property taxes against all accessible real property in the village to meet local government requirements for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. And whereas the village clerk treasurer of the Village of East Aurora has submitted a list of unpaid village taxes for said year after servicing actions, and whereas the Village of East Aurora desires the Erie County Department of Real Property Tax Service to enforce the collection of delinquent village taxes, now therefore be it resolved that the attached list of delinquent real property taxes representing 30 parcels and totaling $47,062 without penalties, $52,586.84 with penalties, be submitted to the Erie County Department of Real Property Taxes for re-levy and subsequent reimbursement to the Village of East Aurora. Can I get a motion for that?
So moved.
Moved by Kristen, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion?
It was different than what was in the application, because we got one in the mail today that was postmarked with the correct date. If we get another one that's postmarked with the correct date, I will have to amend, but the next board meeting is after they are due to the county for re-levy, so it had to go on this agenda.
Gotcha.
So if you're going to amend it, do we have to make our motion to
No,
approve
just
any
amend it.
further amendments?
I'll just amend it, keep
Okay.
going. I'll let you know, we'll do it afterwards.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, moved by Kristen, second by Grace. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved? Can I get a motion to refer a special use permit for 30 Walnut Street, Mike and Serena Scaccia. Can't believe I'm learning Italian from you, Ernie. I
Well,
should know that.
Yeah.
Mike and Serena Scaccia to the Planning Commission on December 3rd, 2024, to request a bed and breakfast on the first floor of their dwelling while they live and operate from the second floor.
So moved.
Moved by Molly, second.
Second.
Second by Jeff. Further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. It is referred to the December 3rd Planning Commission meeting. Can I get a motion to appoint Susan Russell? I'm just appointing her. I'm not making a motion to appoint her. Do I need a
You're
second?
appointing her, nope.
All right. I'm appointing Susan Russell to the Zoning Board of Appeals, God bless you, to finish a term ending the first Monday in April of 2027. And I don't need a
Do a
second?
roll call vote.
Okay. So appointing Sue Russell to the ZBA, she's currently the alternate and doing a fine job, all the members have told me, including the chair. So can I get a roll call vote? Steve?
Aye.
Kristen?
Aye.
Ernie?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Molly?
Aye.
Grace?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Unanimously approved. Thank you to Susan for her service to the community. Can I get a motion to approve budget adjustments for the 2024-2025 fiscal years?
So moved.
Moved by Kristen, second.
Second.
Second by Jeff. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved? Sigh. Can I get a motion to accept the resignation of Matthew Hay, DPW Superintendent for retirement, to commence November 30th, 2024?
No.
Nay.
Sorry, Matt.
Not allowed to leave.
All right, someone's got to do it.
Probably the DPW liaison.
So moved.
There you go.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion? How many years, Matthew, since you started? 32 years.
Wow.
Man, oh man. You
Well
must
deserved.
love it.
Well deserved.
You must love all of us.
I have no idea.
Thank you for all your time, buddy. All right, moved by Steve, second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved.
Not till the
No.
30th.
Not until the
November.
30th.
We have you,
November 30th.
we have you for 25 days.
Can I get a motion, what's this one? No, I'm just appointing this one too?
Yep.
Do I need a second? Put the little lines after it. You say no? Okay. I'm going to appoint Barton Logidus. Did I say that right? What's that, John? Logidus. All right. I remember talking to you once and you told me how it was pronounced. So I'm going to appoint Barton Logidus as village engineer for a term that ends the first Monday in April of 2025. Can I get a second? Don't need it? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Approved. Congratulations. Thanks, John. Looking forward to working with you. Can I get a motion to approve a temporary use permit for Victoria Storman for the East Aurora Chamber of Commerce and the Village of East Aurora for Holiday Magic in the Village, Saturday, December 21st, 2024, 1 through 4 p.m. in the Tannery Brook parking lot?
Motion.
Moved by
Second.
Jeff, second by Kristen. Further discussion? Victoria, would you like to give us a high level, please?
Hi, I'm Victoria Sturban. I'm the Executive Director of the Greater East Aurora Chamber of Commerce, and I have...
Carrie Evans, Special Events Coordinator for the Chamber of Commerce.
So what we are proposing is a new event in the village on the same day as Carolcade. We've been asked numerous times over the past several years, even when the former executive was here, to try to do something else in the village the day of Carolcade. So we've been kind of tossing around the idea. I also went, when I became executive director, down and started talking with the businesses on the western part of Main Street, down by the Circle, And they have been asking us repeatedly to do an event down there. However, we can't do it on Main Street because I'm told we can't close the street because of the circle. So we've been looking for a way to do it. We thought about doing an event down in the parking lot behind 189 Burger and Barbell and Andrew's Barber Parlor. And we thought about doing this holiday festival. So I approached Maureen and we chatted about it. We chatted about doing it at Hamlin Park. But with snow and the fact that we can't plow Hamlin Park if it does snow, we turned around and said, well, what about that parking lot? We also talked about partnering with the village because it's the 150th anniversary this year and kind of combining to do a joint event that way. So that's kind of where we stand right now. When we sent the permit in, we did a little map to kind of show you where we were hoping to use the parking lot, like what section of it. We also met with DPW, the police department, the fire department, and the village administrator on Friday to discuss it out at the parking lot to kind of come up with where we could hold it safety-wise. The plan is to do a touch-a-truck event as part of it, to also have craft vendors, so no selling, it's just going to be crafts. It's a family-friendly event, a way to bring people into the village during the afternoon. We decided on 1 to 4 in the hopes that they would then stay and have dinner and shop at our restaurant, or shop at our restaurants, shop at our shops, and then stay for Carolcade at the end. That's really all. I don't know, Carrie, if you, Hannah, have anything else that you want to add?
No, that's pretty much it, just to try to connect the whole day, as a whole event.
Yeah, lots of crafts. We're thinking of hopefully we'll have Kester's Farm with alpacas.
Yeah.
We talked with the Siberian Husky Club of Niagara Frontier to bring their sled dogs down for a meet and greet. We're talking to Hawk Creek about possibly having them come and do some educational stuff, as well as we want to work with our nonprofits and other organizations here. The Aurora Players wants to be involved. We're going to talk with the library, Kiwanis, Rotary about coming in and doing some crafts for the kids. It's really just pure family entertainment, a way to get people out and enjoy the village. We also want to let our businesses leverage it so that hopefully they will hold small events in their stores as well as be open later so that people will come in and kind of spend the whole day here in the village.
Did you consider the old Fisher Price lot owned by the rink? on
Yes,
Valley
we
Street?
did, and we would have to plow that as well. We would have to pay to have it plowed if it snowed. And this really was a compromise, I won't say a compromise, but we were really trying to do something for the businesses down on the western end. They really want something, and all of our events are held here on the brick part of Main Street, and they really wanted some way to bring attention to them. Although, Barbell doesn't really need attention. They're very popular as it is. But when we went and talked with people, we talked with Five Star Bank, Andrew, talked with Wendy over at Andrew's Barber Parlor. We met with Vicky over at Pure Essence. We did leave information with Barbell and with 189 Burger. We talked with Reed's. We talked with Las Brasas, Tim Hortons. We went across the street, Sunoco. We went to Favo, just to try to let everybody know, here's the plan, here's what we're doing, and they all seem very much in favor of it. So we asked them to come tonight, but they didn't. So.
Nobody was concerned about the parking or anything? 'Cause
No.
I love the
No.
idea. I love the idea of making it a whole day thing. Start at one end, end at the other end. Especially combining it with we've been trying to figure out a way to celebrate the 150th
Yeah.
year.
It's kind of
anniversary
late,
of the
but we're
village.
going to try to do something. So,
Great.
yeah.
And they weren't concerned about the parking like Reed's or anything?
No, we actually told them because we're not going to utilize that. In fact, Reed says that they're going to plan something for that evening between the festival and Carolcade, something inside their store as well, to try to leverage that event. Five Star Bank was very excited about it. They thought it was great, even though we're not using their parking lot. They still said, whatever we can do to help support it. That was one of my big questions too when we met in the parking lot was, what can we do here to make it safe, keep the parking open? I think we had a good discussion, but I don't know if anybody else has questions or concerns.
The biggest problem is it's so busy all the time anyways right now.
Yeah.
On a weekend with the jaywalking. That's a concern because it's incredibly busy all the time down there. I mean, it's more so than this end. So I would be concerned about people. We don't have a decent crosswalk, or we don't have a crosswalk in a location that's convenient for people crossing from Main and Hamlin and Misters to, that's always been an issue. I mean, I don't know if there's anything we can do about it, but that would be a concern with large numbers of people crisscrossing and.
Yeah, well, we were hoping they would actually be parking in that parking lot, not parking in the Benderson lot across the street or on, I mean, people are going to park
Well, they're
wherever. We
gonna-
know that with
They're
the
gonna
events
bar
that we
hop,
currently
they're gonna
hold.
go, they're gonna go, oh, let's go to Main Hamlin, oh,
Yeah.
let's go to Barville or 189 or whatever. You know, it's the way it is down there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a flow of people.
There's a crosswalk at the circle. People should be.
Yeah,
It's not that
well,
far.
it's not that far. You have to walk, but people humans being just
They
the
happen-
shortest,
happens.
quickest route
I
to
see
get
it all the
across,
time.
and they just want to, I want to go there.
Yeah.
I'm crossing here, and then you have an accident, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I love it that you're doing something down there. I think it's fun.
Pat?
Matt, Shane and I and Aaron from the fire department met. We identified a section of that back parking lot that's behind basically where the employees of the hair salons and the barber shops in that park. I don't see crossing Main Street becoming an issue with this specific festival. Crossing Main Street's an issue on a regular Saturday night, but for what this festival is going to do, I don't think a Main Street crossing is something to be concerned with.
Yeah, I think it's in the afternoon too, so it's not, people have hopefully not been in the bars all morning.
And it's a family event with things for kids, so I don't anticipate them, hopefully, not going bar hopping with their kids, but more of a, park on Oakwood and walk in or something to that effect.
And when we promote it too, we can always encourage that to happen, to say, park in the parking lot, park here. If you're going to cross the street, use the crosswalks. We're very safety conscious. Both Carrie and I are moms too, so we're always looking at that. Actually, when we even met at the parking lot, we were talking about where to put the touch-a-truck so that it was safe, and we're going to use the trucks right up against the parking spaces so that it blocks the activity, and the activities will be up against the fence. Trying to mitigate anybody kind of ramming through or running through. And we talked about having kids walking around the trucks and everything like that. So and we don't really expect it to be, it's not gonna be like the Sidewalk Sailor Taste where you're getting 10,000 people coming. I hope not. As much as I want it to be successful, we really want it to be for the village. And just to give people some more fun, festive things to do on the day of Carolcade, so.
And you've done a good job in other, Taste of East Aurora. This isn't your first rodeo, okay? Something we're pulling this off. But I just, in light of the accidents that have happened recently, that's my brain, that's where it just went. Because,
Well, like I said, we can do everything we can to make sure that, encourage people to park on that side of the street so that we're not crossing. I mean, it's going to happen anyway. Like you said, human nature, they're just going to, it happens to me all the time when I'm driving down that way. People just step out in front and don't watch. So I don't know. I'd be more than happy again to talk with the fire department, police, and see if there's other ways to mitigate that too. So, I don't know. Are there any other questions?
Any other questions for Victoria and Carrie? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moved by Jeff, second by Kristen. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved? And can I get a motion to approve a temporary use permit for Victoria Storman for East Aurora Chamber of Commerce Carolcade, Saturday, December 21st, 2024, 7 to 8 p.m. on Main Street in front of Vittler's?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Congratulations. Thank you. Moving on to new business, we've had a safety request to look into no right turn on red. Pat?
Hi.
Thoughts?
So I received a letter from a friend of one of somebody who was involved in a traumatic or a bad situation a few weeks ago, and since my safety committee buddy's retiring, I didn't even bother him with it. But I contacted State DOT, and they put me in touch with a traffic engineering group, a guy by the name of Brian Kirby. He called me last week. I forwarded the paperwork to him, and they're going to do an engineering study at that intersection and decide about pedestrian safety and about the crosswalks that are there, and if there's anything that can be done to make that intersection any better than it currently is. He stressed that there was a lot of thought that was put into it in the first place when it was first put in, and but that they'd take it back to the drawing board and see if there's anything they can do to make that intersection safer. Unfortunately, in situations like that, we can spread and educate the public further on the proper use of crosswalks, and that goes a long way too. I think sometimes people are just misinformed and uneducated on how to use them properly and how to use the signaling devices and things like that. And maybe we do some outreach with that, we'll get better success there as well.
Thanks. Now, will this, Brian Kirby, go back and look at the statistics for any accidents that have been reported? Did they go to you for that information, right? They wouldn't, the DOT wouldn't have that information, right? They get it from us?
Well, we file motor vehicle accidents with the state, and they have
do?
access to that. My experience with state DOT, when they do traffic studies and things of that sort, is they go back and they look at accidents and occurrences over the course of 3 years. So hopefully, there's something there that they can use as a resource.
All right. Thanks, Pat. So is there any other action required from the board at this point? You're looking into it?
It's been forwarded to them. It's their road. Either both Route 16 and 20A is theirs. So they're going to decide what they want to do there ultimately.
Okay.
They know that we've, as a representative of the village, it's been asked to them to complete this study, and they're happy to do it.
Thanks, Pat. Anybody else have any?
When they look at those last 3 years of data, how recent, like how up to date is that? Do you know what I mean? Like, does it get updated constantly? Is it updated every month? Like, are they going to miss things that happened recently, is my question. Or are they going to be aware of that?
I'm sure Pat informed them of
Sure.
that situation, but if they looked after Pat asked, which was days after the accident, then that is already in the DMV database,
Okay.
and they will see that, yes.
Okay, thanks. Yep, I was just curious how often it got updated. Thanks.
All right. Anyone else on this from the board? All right. Putting a pin in that. Moving on to old business. Chris, anything you want to add about the dispensary discussions?
Not beyond what I already said, and you will all be hearing from me after I do a little checking.
Great. Thank you for that. Moving on to, does anyone from the board want to say anything else about the dispensary discussions? All right. Moving on to our second speakers and communications. This is another opportunity to speak on any topic. Raise your hand. Let us know. It's your last chance to talk. Anybody? Miss?
Hello, I'm Brandy Backlick. That's 780 Center Street, East Aurora.
Hi, Brandy.
Hello. So we both went to Morrisville. We have a horticulture background as well as cannabis. And that's where I met Sydney, actually.
Morrisville cannabis program. She is now doing her master's in pharmacology with cannabis, and I am the youngest cannabis retail license holder in the state. I'm also a cannabis retail consultant. I've helped over 14 licensees open throughout the state, from Manhattan to Niagara Falls and Jamestown. And now it's finally my turn. I just recently got my license, and I'm diligently looking for a good spot to stay. I'm young, and we looked into East Aurora, and I did see that there was a little, conflict going on. You can't open a dispensary within 2,000 feet of another one, and I do know there is some proximity protection on the map. So I'm wondering how you guys feel about, other people applying for special use permits and, how to go about that.
You're gonna go to the code enforcement office and let them know where you think to place it, and then they'll check it for you to see if it's something, and then you could put your application in, and you'd have to go through the process, and they can explain it to you at the code office.
Perfect. And even with all the commotion, you guys would be willing to...
If it's within the,
Look.
if it's within the...
But our code is 500 feet, not 2,000, right?
Right, but we can't overrule the state.
Want to jump in?
Yeah.
You'd run a place right next to the other two. Right in there.
No, I would not want to do
Stir the pot.
No, I swear it's not. We're looking on the other side of town. We just want to make sure that you guys would be, open if we're putting time and money into searching.
Liz is from the code enforcement office. She can guide you on the
And we
process
did
as
want
far
to
as the
meet the
village is
board and
concerned?
everything and see how things go. This was a perfect meeting to join, so.
The one, what's your
Yeah.
last name, Sydney?
Barrett, Sydney Barrett, Sidney. And then Brandy Bakalik.
Oh, I know Brandy.
Oh,
Remember?
Oh,
I
yeah.
coached you in, what was it, soccer, right, when you were little?
yeah. Here I am.
Yeah, I probably look the exact same. You look totally different. You look like 5.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Great,
Nice
thank you.
meeting you.
All right, anyone else want to speak on any topic? Now's your chance. All right, that ends our second Speakers and Communications Department Head Report. Pat?
Over at 571 Main Street, as everybody knows, we've been busy lately with a couple very sad situations, but that's kept us unfortunately busy on that end. Regular police work is ongoing. We have dove in a little bit with community policing further than we have. We took part in the first annual trunk or treat over at Parkdale last week, and in cooperation with the PBA, gave out 1,000 pieces of candy to kids, and so that was fun. And we started last week trying to start to fill our vacant police officer position, and we have had some interviews, and hopefully we'll have more on that soon. Outside of that,
Thanks, Pat. Anybody have anything for Pat? Matthew?
We have been fairly busy picking up leaves throughout the village and have the first phase of the parking lot at the fire hall in, and it's
Looks
been
great.
Yeah, thank you. It was a fun project. It's all compacted. Wait until spring, we can regrade it, add some capping, and pave it.
Awesome. How many spaces does that add for the firefighters?
It should give at least 10.
10 more spaces.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you for doing that.
Yes, sir.
And for Matt? All right, Liz?
So there's a lot of construction going on in the plazas and will be going on in the plazas, as Mr. Baglioli has said. Chase is well underway, Chase Bank. The self-storage facility on 120 Commerce Way, the construction is complete. They still have to run lighting, but that's it. And they have to do some final grading. They have to reinstall the sidewalk, things like that. But that project is nearing completion as well. And we've had a really busy year, but things are going well.
Very good. Thank you, Liz. Shane?
I think we're going to be very happy with our pick for village engineer. The committee interviewed 3 different firms, and they stood out from the rest, and I think it's going to work out really well. And if you didn't get your flyer, the Millard Fillmore statue unveiling is going to happen on November 9th at 2 p.m.
Yeah, it looks good. He's already in place. Right?
Yeah, and the sidewalk they did and everything, it looks great over there now.
Beautiful landscape, beautifully.
Yep.
Miller kicking back on a bench, it looks like. All right, thank you, Shane. Maureen?
Well, the taxes are re-levied for the year, and we're working on our accounting software, and pretty much my entire staff is in training nonstop for the next few weeks, so there's that.
Thank you, Maureen. Grace?
Nothing tonight.
Molly?
I just wanted to bring up, not to sound like a broken record, about the crosswalks. I had suggested at a point previous about maybe one of those ones that has lights, and there was some concern because it costs so much to put the electricity to those. In talking to a neighbor of mine, he had done some research, and there's some solar ones and battery-operated ones that cost like pittance that don't require that. So now that we're having sort of some general conversations about safety and sidewalks, and not to be hyperbolic, but some on Olean, not by Knox, where people cross by Girard, the Boys and Girls Club, just someone's gonna get hit, and I'm really concerned about it. So I'll give this to you guys, but There's probably lots of options out there, but if we
Yeah,
could revisit those.
The price we got was the county's price to put one on Pine Street, or on Pine Street when they did the reconstruction. We didn't have a choice. They said they'd do it if we wanted to, and it was 50 grand to put their system in, not
Yeah,
with those.
you
Right.
get 2 of them for $8,600. So, I'm just gonna give this to you guys afterwards, but I just wanted to bring that up again.
Thank you, Molly.
You're welcome.
Jeffrey?
Nothing, I'm good.
Ernie?
Nothing.
Kristen?
Nothing tonight.
Steven?
I'm all set.
All right. I'm good as well. We're going to go into executive session. Can I get a motion to go into executive session at 8:35 a.m. to discuss, or p.m.?
Yeah.
To discuss, I'm already in my head, I'm already moving on. To discuss contract negotiations.
Motion.
Moved by Jeff, second.
Second.
Second by Steve. Further discussions? Do we expect to vote on
I
anything?
do not expect that you would vote on anything when we came out.
So you can stick if you want, but it might be anticlimactic. Thank you all for coming if you don't come back after. All in favor of the motion of executive session?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved? We're in executive session.
Gotcha.
Are we still recording?